Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSL. I am Tasteless, and with me is Artosis, and we have a ton of games we're going to be casting today. I can't wait.
Yeah, we certainly do. 9 games today, 5 this morning, and then 4 later on. So don't go anywhere. You know, we'll give you pee breaks, but other than that, you're with us all day.
It's going to be all day StarCraft action. And, of course, yeah, we do have 5 best of 3s. This morning, it's really actually 1 p.m., but in nerd time, that's the morning because I don't wake up before noon. So we got a ton of cool games. We do have a non-Korean playing today as well.
That's right. Yeah. We have Hey Pro playing in the 5th match this morning. I'm sure everyone's going to tune in for that. No one doesn't love Hey Pro. There's just nothing there that you can't love.
No, I used to play with Hey Pro a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Back in the day, he was on my team, RS, before I joined your team media in StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
And he's a really talented player. I knew him back when he wasn't so good, and he's kind of come full swing.
Yeah.
Now he's, a real force to be reckoned with.
He's basically a mini Ret.
Yeah,
I was
he is.
joking the other day that you could actually hollow Ret out and Hater would fit inside him and use him like a robot suit. Because they play exactly the same. They're both these great European Zergs from StarCraft 1.
Right.
Macro style. Just great players, man.
It's true. It's true. And we also have Rainbow playing today. He changed his idea. It was Hope Torture.
I know. How ridiculous is this? He made us call him Hope Torture. We're like, we actually told him, you know that this is a terrible idea, right?
We told him that backstage.
And finally.
We actually pulled him aside in Season 1 and said, okay, you got a choice. We either call you Rainbow or we call you Hope Torture. What do you want? And he's like, I don't know, Hope Torture. And I was like, oh. And now he's changed his ID.
Yeah. Apparently someone told him that he believes, and he's back to Into the Rainbow, so thank God I can stop falling over his name every single time.
Hope Torture is just such an awkward ID to say.
It's a terrible ID,
and
it's
two words
gone,
that are just juxtaposed together. And
I know, man. And it's hard to say that when I've been calling him Into the Rainbow for like 10 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I'm like yelling about Banelings coming, man, I can't be just going through my memory banks and be like, what does he want to be called this week? Hope Torture. No. Into the Rainbow is back.
And, of course, he is a big heavyweight out here. He is. Managed to get to the final
top 2
4.
and a top 4.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Final 4 at least both times.
Most solid player.
I'm curious to see how far he'll get this time around, too.
Yeah.
If he gets Final 4 again, that's scary.
That's legendary.
No kidding.
This guy, maybe the new Stork, but he's just so solid,
So, by the way, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Special thanks to our sponsor, Sony Ericsson, and everybody who's tuning in. I love StarCraft. I love StarCraft 2. I love esports. And I am so happy to be here casting these games for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
It's Season 3, and it's the best season yet. We saw Sen win yesterday. I think we're going to see the foreigners do better than ever. We're going to see the Koreans do better than ever because they're getting so much better at the game. The metagame is really becoming more and more defined.
Yeah, it's getting a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
So much cleaner.
Because there's going to be a lot fewer games where we're just sitting there, we're like, oh, this guy actually just doesn't know what's going on, It's going to be a lot of really high-level games.
No kidding. It's funny because in Season 1, as you guys did, Artosis and me were seeing some openers that just didn't seem to make a lot of sense. They seemed a little bit sloppy.
Like kids that play with one hand, they just click around and stuff, man. And they didn't know what they were doing, just rolling dice for what buildings to make.
And now we're here at Season 3, and, of course, we have a ton of really awesome games. Let's take a look at the round of 64 Day 1 match results.
Well, we had an ST barely taking out JYS, by the way. Someone told me on Twitter that it is, in fact, Mio. Thank you, that person on Twitter. Mio, of course, a very good player. OGS Vines lost 1-2 to Sen. That was a wildly close matchup. Sen took a lot of risks. Very, very close. Little Boy, a.k.a. Goma, took out Juke to Jung. You have to watch Game 1 of that series. You have to. I am telling you that's something you must do, so do it. Maka Prime, .we, took out I'm Sleep very convincingly. He is back and stronger than ever. Golden Foyu, it is called Foyu, took out OGS The Wind.
Yeah, that was quite an upset there, too. I'm curious to see how far Golden's going to get in this, in this tournament because he was such a good Zerg.
He played great.
Now let's take a look at today's matches. We have, I believe it's pronounced Rots, even though it looks like we pronounce it like Rache, against ST GgoBooGie. Then we have Dream Z. Am I reading this right?
Dreamizer.
Zenith. Okay. I wanted to make sure I was actually getting that out right. Against Rain from the TSL. Finally, a Libero Prime against NSP Genius. also known as Next Genius. Finally, after that, Into the Rainbow against New Dawn. And we're going to finish it up with Bit by Bit Prime against Liquid Hey Pro from Sweden.
Yes, and that is actually a pretty good lineup of games. Of course, NSP Genius, that's his clan. His actual team is Nex. I don't know why we have it written as NSP. You should be paying homage to your team, not your clan.
Yeah, I agree. You know, one thing about Battle.net right now is you can't change your ID. So
yeah.
Some of these guys, they switch.
I like how some of the IDs have things you can't have in your ID on Battle.net. It's like macaprime.we. It's like, can I get a dot in my name? No, and you can't either, macaprime. So it's kind of funny.
You're not
like
fooling anybody, Maca.
Yeah.
But, the names of these players want to be referred to as, sometimes the ID doesn't show up the same. Just like we saw with Goma, who's known as Little Boy, who's yesterday on my stats sheet was named Kid. That was quite confusing. But, so some of these guys changing names, changing teams. So sorry if there's a little bit of confusion with that. But, again, this is the GSL. This is the largest StarCraft 2 tournament, the largest esports tournament in the world in history. We have a prize pool that is – we're actually insane, people. We're actually just throwing away money. We actually just love this game so much. The first place winner gets roughly $87,000, depending on the currency exchange rate. That's a rough estimate of what it is, depending on how the won is doing compared to the dollar.
I think the won actually went up. It might be up to 90,000 or so now.
Is it?
It could be.
It could be. 90,000. That sounds a little bit better.
Let's call it 90,000. I'm telling you, the exchange rates for the won are at a 9-month high against the dollar. So
there you go. So lots of money here for first place. Of course, also notoriety, fame on the line as well, because after this season, our tournament setup is going to be much more complicated for how things work. This is just the beginning. It's not like we're going to keep having just a GSL every time around, every month or so.
Yeah, it's going to be a much more complicated thing, as you said. Yeah. You're going to need a double major in law and mathematics to understand it fully, but we will do our best to explain to you as that comes closer.
Yeah. And we'll get to that stuff more in the future as it gets finalized, because we're still kind of mapping the rest of that out. We're going to have a very cool setup, basically nonstop StarCraft 2 stuff for you guys to watch whenever, wherever, as long as you have the internets. You can join us here at GgoBooGie. By the way, if you're watching us live but you have friends who can't be awake at your time because they're either they go to bed early for whatever reason.
Maybe they're normal people.
Well, if they're not, nerds like us, tell them to check out our premium services, because for a good deal, you can get all those VODs with as much access as you want. But let's take a look now at our new player over here. Rache, a Terran player.
That's right. I don't have a whole ton to say about this guy. I have played him several times on the ladder. Just a strong Terran. He's not really well known. Doesn't have any true accomplishments. His first GSL, of course. No team yet. He's in that Blizzard tree. He's on Team Blizzard.
Not Team Blizzard.
But aren't we all?
We're all on Team Blizzard out here.
Right.
But we do make the guys wear a Blizzard shirt if they don't have a team. A lot of pressure for this guy. He's clearly very young. And with that being said, he might not have the experience or be able to maintain the equanimity necessary to pull through and have ultimate composure. But you never know. Some of these guys are pretty clutch, even though they are quite young.
That's right. All right. This is ST Startail GgoBooGie.
GgoBooGie.
Of course, yeah. GgoBooGie, he's on Startail, so obviously he's very good. That's one of the top teams. A team that Torch is actually playing with now.
Yeah. He's here
really
in the studio
exciting
today,
team.
Actually, here to support.
I was talking to the head coach of that team back in the makeup room. And, no makeup room. I always look this good.
We don't actually have makeup on.
Just in a room out back. I was talking to him. And this guy, he's a good player. Not really that well known yet.
Some of these coaches, they see potential in some of these younger guys.
Yeah.
And say, all right, I'm going to get him at this age.
Get him while he's young, man.
Yeah, and then by the
time... Teach him to be loyal, and maybe he'll become good.
Yeah.
Not just throw him away.
What's funny is both these guys are pretty young. So I'm hoping we're going to see some clean play from these two.
Yeah.
For those of you who've obviously never experienced what it's like to be in a tournament, let alone be in the booth back there, that soundproof booth, it's quite a different experience from playing at home.
It is that. There's a lot of pressure up there.
Right.
And young players, first-time players, they have a hard time of it. You can really hear this from anyone. A lot of great players, when they started, were not that great. You have to have nerves of steel to play your best in those booths.
Well, you know, you're sitting there in front of the computer. You can feel your heart beating sometimes. And hold that thought, though. Let's take a look at the maps here. Steps of War, Xel'Naga Caverns, and Jungle Basin. So, Steps of War, you know, it's going to be tough for some of these players to have to play on Steps of War as the first map.
Yeah. No Zerg in this matchup, so Steps of War won't be quite as bad. But Jungle Basin, pretty much everyone is agreeing at this point that it is a Protoss map.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of ways you can warp in and do a lot of abusive stuff with that.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that he will do something like that, but it's something that the Terran player has to look out for. So if it goes to Game 3, Boogie Boy, who, by the way, loves Protoss vs. Terran, he feels it's his best matchup, is going to be in good shape.
Certainly. The countdown started. Let's get ready for our first game of 9 best of 3s. It's going to be pretty sick. TVP, get ready. All right, down here in the red, our Terran player with a pretty clean split of SCVs. New to the scene, he is
Rache.
up here in the blue on this one-on-one map. Member of the Team ST. Also new to the scene is
GgoBooGie.
Tesos, you want a little fun fact that I learned this weekend?
Yes, I do, Artosis.
All right, I was practicing in control state at my house from your team, EG.
Yeah,
stayed with me and we practiced a lot together, talked a lot of StarCraft. I made fun of him for just sending all his probes to the same patch. And apparently it has been proven that if you make your probe, SCV, drone, whatever, first and then send them to mine, there's no difference whether you clone them or not. You can just send them all to the same patch and you will mine the same amount.
I actually didn't know that.
I mean, yeah, he told me that, so I had to stop making fun of him.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was rough, man.
We always used to make fun of InControl's mechanics, but now we realize he's better than us.
Oh, we can still do that.
InControl actually just went home.
Yeah.
1 game away from actually being in the round of 64. So, hope to see him out here again. They're training for the GSL.
No doubt we will. So far, standard play by both our players. Nothing cheesy going on quite yet. Now, Rots, is he going to go ahead and get a gas? This is about the gas timing. There it is.
There it is.
All right, so no gas display expansion or rush.
Now, one thing about Steps of War, in this matchup, it's a little bit more interesting than it is when there's a Zerg involved because the proximity of the 2 starting locations can make it pretty tough to survive any rushes, but both players can go for aggressive builds and get away with it. And if you're not fully prepared for something coming at you early on, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
It's very true. I'm making that first Marine, going to chase the probe out, and of course...
Chrono boosting a Zealot out here.
Now, this is actually something Protoss players have been doing a little bit because a lot of Terrans aren't walling, and you see he does have it rallied all the way down into that main base.
Yeah.
And, in fact, he does go Tech Lab right after.
So take a look at that.
Yeah, see that Tech Lab going up? So he's actually going to have 1 Marine to try to fend off 1 Zealot.
This is going to be bad. He may want to get a Reaper out here. Try to micro that. Marauder can be good too. And we see a bunker's going to be constructed, but that's going to be far too late, I think.
Oh, definitely far too late. He's just going to have to micro, bring up some SCVs and whatnot. It's just, this is a nice little push here on such a small, short map. And in that Marine, see if he can take out some SCVs. Takes out an SCV. Hits the Marine again, and will he kill? He does.
Oh, very nice. Going for the Mule now. Nice opener there. And he will take that Mule out. That's actually huge.
Yeah, he's killed an SCV, a Marine, and a Mule. So that just goes to show you, great little rush there.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are inexperienced with the, the economics of StarCraft 2, taking out the player's Mule is so impactful. It's actually insane.
Yeah, those things mine like 300 minerals, man. It's insane. Yeah. So that was hugely worth it, and still putting on some pressure. Rots may be a little bit shaken up right now.
Well, one tactic that's used when you think that a player is weaker than you, oftentimes engaging him first causes him, to get a little bit more nervous.
Yes.
And not handle himself properly. It kind of messes up his tempo throughout the game.
You know, that's actually a somewhat complicated concept, but that's the best I've ever heard it worded, Tasteless.
Thank you.
Just engaging a lesser experienced player first. Remember that, people. When you become really experienced and you're playing for someone a little bit newer, attack them first. Even if it's not like a big attack, just do something. It'll throw them off.
Yeah, because then they have a hard time concentrating on, what they're making and this and that. Looks like we have 3 gates and a robo. Let's see if this SCV can spot it. I don't know if he's going to go up the ramp or not.
It can be quite a safe build, and you can also get pretty aggressive with it if you want to make a few immortals.
Looks like we might have a command center over here. We do have an SCV parked at the expansion. Meanwhile, our Terran player going to get a reactor and an engineering bay.
Yeah, the engineering bay, I'm a little
curious about this.
Yeah, a little bit wondering what he's going to do with that. Whether he wants to get a missile turret up just in case. He did scan, though, and see that it's a robotics, so the missile turret might just be for an upgrade. +1 attack.
He moves out now. Let's see if he actually does go for an expansion. He's making a bunker. Now, sometimes people do stuff like this to make it look like they're expanding when they're actually not.
Bunkers are free. You can just sell them right off.
Right.
Great return policy on them.
As long as you keep the receipt. Now, we'd have pretty intense macro from both of these guys. One basing pretty heavily. Double bunker. What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm actually,
yeah, I'm not. Really
I'm a little bit
sure.
confused, to be totally honest.
Yeah, because I don't know, Taste. So see, he scanned the 3 warp gates and the robo. He must be thinking that this is going to be a very aggressive build. As I was saying, you can get aggressive with that opening. It's a very safe opening to expand behind, of course.
And here's a command center. Interesting timing getting 2 bunkers like this.
And, we just missed it, but there was a scan right there. So he sees the Nexus. He realizes now, okay, this was actually just an expansion build. And it looks like he's going to press out. Stim is about to finish, and he already has concussive shells on Marauders.
Immortal on the way. Bringing the SCVs. Here we go again.
Oh, my.
Oh, my God.
And I think we're going to see a Nexus cancel 100%. But the sentries are going to have enough energy to hold this off, no problem.
He's going to go for contain, too.
Oh, no. Don't go down that ramp. And, yeah, he's going to have to cancel that.
And he's going to cancel the last second, presumably. There he goes. Now, canceling that and having the Terran bring all these SCVs, I would almost say that's somewhat of a loss for the Terran.
Yeah, the only thing
in a way.
Yeah.
Like, that's so many resources not mining. Then again, he will have an expansion
That's
up.
quite true. Yeah, that's the one thing that it really is good about, is that he will have his expansion up first, so he'll be able to produce more SCVs, have more mules. But he has stimmed his army once, so...
Yeah, I think the stim was a little bit unnecessary.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be so careful with your stims in this game, especially when everything's on one hotkey.
Oh, yeah.
That's people are always over-stimming. Because in StarCraft 1, I mean, you would just stim it, drop the hat.
Well, there's really no penalty for stimming in StarCraft 1 if you had some medics.
Yeah.
Because you just make so many medics, if you're assuming that you're good, that you have enough stims that it's not that bad if you stim and it's unnecessary. In StarCraft 2, you stim and you could be in some serious trouble.
That's right. Now, we do have Colossus tech. There's the first one popping out. No Thermal Lance yet to get higher range on the Colossus, so it's going to be harder to use against the Terran army. But Protoss right now, he can't be feeling overly great. He's kind of going one-base Colossus while this Nexus warps in after that first cancel. In the meantime, our Terran player, he is mining really, really well. His income is very much greater than the Protoss players.
I feel like the Protoss has been a little bit too passive in this entire game with his build and everything else.
Yeah, he wanted to do one of these really safe build orders. He went the 3 Warp Gate, he went the Robo, and made a Nexus, but then he just kind of sat there, and the attack by Rots made him cancel. So, yeah, he's kind of sitting there passively. He got the bad end of the build orders there, for sure.
One thing he could have done is taken those the 3-gate opener, gone to the bottom of his opponent's ramp, and continuously force fielded it while he expanded.
Yeah.
Because if you have I think it's, right, this is off the top of my head, I believe it's 3 actually. I think you can actually continuously force field a ramp with 3
I
sentries.
thought it was 4. Yeah, I think you might be right on
for
that,
the timing,
actually.
because I think the first sentry actually wound up with the 100 energy by the time you have the other 2 out.
Oh, I believe it's just barely not 3 because it's
Yeah.
15 seconds for a force field, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
45,
Yeah.
and then eventually it'll run out. But yeah, you're right. We don't see enough force fielding people's ramps to just keep them up.
Force fielding your opponent's ramp.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you can do.
And that missile turret takes out an observer, which is
Yeah.
actually kind of a big deal. Observers, they take up robotics time, and they cost 100 gas. So quite annoying.
Protoss is going to go try to get in position outside of his opponent's base here.
And, right now, I think we may see a little push pretty soon here. He does have the Thermal Lance, and he does have a few Colossi. So against this bunker kind of stagnant play, he can just push up with those, use force fields to cut the Terran army in half, and it's not going to look good for Terran.
He's going to poke here, trying to get the Terran to come towards him. Whoa.
Oh, God. You see Rache, he is scared, man.
Here we go.
Stimming up, attacking in. There's those force fields, and he just cannot hit the Colossus with these. Rod's just cleaning up. I mean,
Oh my
Rod's
God.
getting cleaned up, rather.
He is mopping the floor with this guy.
Yeah. The Colossus just destroying, absolutely destroying Rotz's army and his bunkers. And Rotz basically will not be able to come back from this. That's far
That's
too much.
it. GG. Pretty straightforward game. Not
Yep.
the cleanest game we've seen here, but certainly an educational one at that. I don't think Rotz handled his build right from start to finish. The whole way through was kind of bumpy.
It was definitely bumpy. I mean, he had that really nice attack that made the Nexus cancel, but he didn't have any follow-up to that. Once you make
Right.
him cancel the Nexus, and you've already scanned the Robo, what should you be thinking? Okay, well, I can throw up some
Colossus.
bunkers,
Yeah.
but I need to tech up to Vikings immediately because what can he do to come back? My command center is so much quicker. I need anti-Colossus.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 2 base, and he's got 1 base, all you have to do is make sure you have Vikings. Because, I mean, without the Colossus, 1 base Protoss army is just not going to beat 2 base Terran army. You just have too many units. And the Marauders are so good, so everything you said is exactly right. Also, it was weird that he was making bunkers like before the expansion even started. 2 bunkers.
I feel like he thought it was going to be an all-in with a lot of Immortals.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a Nexus, so...
Well, it's so weird because I was like, is he trying to fake him out? And then I'm like, oh no, he's actually confused.
Yeah.
He thinks that, like, I don't know, the whole situation was just very strange. So, getting his expansion up, even though he had an expansion before his opponent, he wasted money on bunkers, which he really didn't need to do. Everything was kind of bumpy. Maybe we'll see a better game this time around. Like I said before, some of these newer, younger players, they do get a little bit nervous. It's understandable. I've experienced it. You've experienced it too, where you're just like, okay, it all comes down to this.
Yeah.
And I think game 2 will probably be a lot better.
Yeah, I think so. But, Rotz, he might be a little shaken up as well. We're going to have to see. Countdown has started, Tasteless.
Let's get this going. Game number 2, can Rotz pull it back together? Let's find out here. I'm Tasteless, with me as Artosis. This is the GSL.